back to the Doctor Who Marathon. I'm your host McEdam, and today we're going to be talking about the Sontaran Ordeal, written by Andrew Smith, the writer of Full Circle, for those of you keeping track. This was the fourth story in the classic Doctor's New Monsters box set. And you can probably see why this story, when it was announced, was heavily, I don't want to say criticised, it was like mocked, essentially. For those of you who don't know, because maybe they're just only familiar with the new series, the Sontarans are a classic Who monster, appearing in The Time Warrior, which is also the first appearance of Sarah Jane Smith, and then continuing their appearances in The Sontaran Experiment, The Invasion of Time, and The Two Doctors, making 4 stories in the classic series overall. However, when you actually listen into the story and you see where the plot is going with, you can understand where the new monster comes in. For 2 ways of thinking about it. The A is that these Sontarans, the way they're characterised and the way they're portrayed by their actors Dan Starkey and Christopher Ryan, who also appeared as Sontarans in the new series, starting with the 4th season series story, The Poisonous Skies, and Sontaran, I can't remember what that one's called. Oh, no, that's embarrassing. But anyway, these are much more characterised towards them. There's a little bit of humour against the Sontarans in a way. They also have this whole Sontaha, Sontaha, Sontaha chant going on, which is something which was invented for the new series to give them a catchphrase, I suppose. So this is technically chronologically the first time they've used that phrase. I was personally never a fan of the Sontaha stuff, but it does help with the idea that this is a militarized alien force. But on the other hand, as well, and what makes this story a great segment to the classic Doctor's New Monsters box set, is that the Sontarans aren't the monster, or at least they're not like the main threat. The main threat, the main antagonist, shall we say, the one where this, in our chronological ordering, kicks it off, is the Time War. A battle across all space and time. Only a little segment actually appears in this story, but due to this segment, catastrophe reigns out in time and space. A war between the Doctor's own people of the Time Lords and the Daleks of Skaro. Although we never actually see any Daleks, we don't actually see any Time Lords with the exception of the Doctor, the Time War is a big factor in the story. And yeah, and that's a great idea for a classic Doctor's New Monsters. True, yeah, it's still really odd that the Sontarans were advertised. I mean, they're on the cover of the box. It came in this volume. I'll show it later on. Which is just really bizarre. And there's hundreds of new monsters which could have easily taken this spot. To think of, Cassandra. I mean, nobody really wants to see an 8th Doctor Cassandra story, but it could happen, you know. Time War, Time's in Flux, Weeping Angels, that would have been a great one. I mean, the Weeping Angels have already appeared in this box set, but they can appear again. The Reapers, they would have been a perfect monster for the Time War. Just anything. But the Sontarans is just a really strange choice. But that out of the way, yeah, this is also the final full-length story that we'll be tackling with the 8th Doctor. As the next story, would be Paul McGann's last chronologically, and as we all know, that's only like a 12-minute short. Really great 12-minute short, but a 12-minute short just nonetheless. So, shall we get into it? This is the cover of the CD, with Sontaran, with Dan Starkey's Sontaran here. I believe his name is Commander Jask, which is also a name of a Sontaran that the 10th Doctor knocked out at the end of time. So whether they're supposed to be the same character, I have no idea. Dan Starkey, of course, is more famously known for playing the other Sontaran, Strax, the comical bumbling idiot that follows Vastra and Jenny around in Victorian London. But yeah, and we got Paul McGann in his Night of the Doctor costume. We'll talk more about his costume in the Night of the Doctor video, but just to summarise, I love it. It's perfect. I absolutely love his costume. And like always, this comes in a box set. Let me just slide that in. This comes in a box set, which I think I've shown before. This is what I was on about. Like, it advertises the Sontarans here as the new monster, which is just so bizarre. But again, like I said, it makes sense in the context of the narrative. So that's the box set it comes in. And like always with these Big Finish CD covers, I printed off my own DVD cover. And this time, I actually designed it from scratch. I couldn't find a textless cover of the Sontaran Ordeal, so I had to kind of like design my own. I kind of based this off a fan art I've seen of the Time Warrior. I can't remember who did that artwork, but credit is due to them. The idea was like a Sontaran in the middle, and the Doctor and the companion, shall we say, in the stories there, in these diamond shapes. I basically had took the idea off like that, but it's easily one of my the best work that I've done. As you could probably, I don't know if you can notice, but I've changed the colour of Paul McGann's scarf there, so it's like a purpley colour, just because I thought it looked really nice. Here's the spine, if anyone is interested. Hey look, it's Paul McGann. Hello there, I am the Doctor. He does not sound like that at all. And here is the back. And I took an image of just a random space imagery there. And the back gives it away that it is one of mine that I invented. So there you go, that's the Sontaran Ordeal's covers. So, on to the narrative. So the first 10 minutes of this story has the Doctor basically just travelling in the TARDIS, and he notices the planet Draxis. Now Draxis, from his personal timeline, is a planet that's been only aware of peace, and it's always been a peace, and it'll always only know peace. It is a planet which has never seen any sort of conflict. It is a happy, loving place that the Doctor is well aware of, and it's one of the big planets of peace and prosperity. But he notices something on the time scanner. The Time War is raging nearer, and it's getting nearer and nearer to the planet. And the Doctor tries to fight a physical war. I don't know how this really works. I will admit the dialogue at this start is, I felt was pretty weak. There's a bit where the Doctor says something along the lines of, "Come on, go, shoo, take your crewless, senseless Time War and leave." As if the Time War isn't a war between the Time Lords and the Daleks, the people fighting. No, the Time War is its own sentient being. Like the Time War. Ooh, look at me, I'm the Time War. But the idea of it gets across as the Doctor lands on this planet, and first of all he introduces, and it seems all nice You can hear birds chirping in the background. The Doctor mentions there's like a nice forest. And then, in a blink of an eye, boom! Suddenly, the Doctor's on a wasteland. On a planet that has only seen war and will only ever know war. It will never know a last longing peace. The Time War, at least as it's described, the Time War raged over the planet for, in actual time, nanosecond, minutes at most, as the war came fighting on you because of the Time War. You know, it's all about time, and there's all these paradoxes and temporal instabilities happening, so time can be in flux. But because of the effects of the Time War, this planet is now, its timeline is corrupted to the point where it's unfixable. This planet now is one of the renowned planets of destruction and war, with the planet fighting off a war against an enemy, which I don't remember we really see. I believe we were called like the Bannerman. I don't know if this has anything to do with the Bannerman from Delta and the Bannerman. I don't know if there's like a reference to that. But when the Doctor is here, he gets introduced to two characters. We get introduced to this woman, what's her name? Sontaran Teal, a warrior-like individual who the Doctor originally saves from a quicksand, but something doesn't seem quite right with her. Despite her being in an armour and she says that she's one of these diplomatic soldiers, like the best, the champion of her people, and she's gone to the Bannerman's like city so that she can try and organise some sort of peace, and if not, she will go out and kill them. And she's got this whole backstory with her kids, but she doesn't seem to be brave. She doesn't seem to be good at fighting. She seems really nervous, and slowly throughout the story, she kind of breaks to the Doctor that originally she's just a I can't remember if she says a shoemaker or like she's a clothes maker by trade, and she just caught up in all this. The Doctor obviously knows why and how her life doesn't seem to make sense. It's because of the Time War, but she doesn't realise this, and from her point of view, she's always been fighting this terrible, bloody, disgusting war. The other character that we get introduced is Jax, a Sontaran that's under Ordeal. An Ordeal is a Sontaran punishment in which a Sontaran is sent to a battlefield with no weapons or armour and is basically left to defend itself. These three characters make this story. All these characters are completely different from one another. You have the Doctor, this heroic, famed pacifist who will do his best to not fight in a war. You have this nervous amateur soldier who will try and do her best to try and fight as much as possible, even if she doesn't really want to, in a sense. And you have Strax, a Sontaran who wants nothing to do but to die in the glory of his, for the glory of Sontar, the home planet of the Sontarans. And as well, we also get to learn a little bit about his plot line. And what's really great is that there's not a lot of side characters, or when they are, they're really not important, with only like a scene or two. So the majority of this 90-minute plot is focusing on our three characters, and they've each got their own struggles, their own personalities, and their own traits, and it really delves into it. And I think if Big Finish announced that we were going to get box sets featuring the 8th Doctor, Commander Jax, and Sontaran, then I would listen to the hell out of that. They seem like the small rebel bunch that that come out and try and take down as much controversy as much as possible. And there's just a lot of great moments. The start of it has the Doctor and Sontaran basically knocking out and capturing Jax, and trying to find out what he's been on Ordeal for. And he reveals that basically his commander, General Stank, is played by Christopher Ryan, is a really selfish and egotistical Sontaran. He led Sontarans to a pointless battle which killed a lot of Sontarans for seemingly no reason. And ever since then, this Sontaran general has been basically going to planets and to a few planets to try and conquer. Well, at least they've done intentionally, but he basically comes up with plans to try and conquer much weaker planets that have no strategic value to the Sontarans. But for him, it's easy pickings, and he would take these planets as a victory, as a trophy for himself to show how great of a general he is, despite him not fighting in proper wars. And so they all try and get into the TARDIS because the Doctor basically realizes that if this general has his way, he'll try and invade and conquer Draxus. We also learn as well that Drask was a guinea pig for a new teleporting system of Sontarans. Usually Sontarans' technology is very primitive in a galactic sense, where their teleports need two, like a relay. But they're designing a new technology which will allow them to teleport anywhere. But something has gone wrong and has actually poisoned and started deteriorating Jask, so that he is dying, and he is slowly, and he basically wants to take revenge on the general. So basically, these three have come up to team up against a conspiracy, and you think, all right, it's starting off very well, at least for the Doctor and Sontaran. However, the TARDIS goes missing because some of these like people who salvagers, they found the TARDIS and try to take it and try and sell it. So the Doctor tries to find them whilst he orders Sontaran to basically look after Jask. I keep getting his name wrong, I do apologise. And just wait there, any trouble, hit them at the back of his probate vent. He should go knocking down. Let me go and get the TARDIS. And really, this little subplot in terms of pure plot actually does have a bit of a part of a play. But in terms of the Doctor trying to get his TARDIS, it's only really there so we can have a scene with the Sontaran and this woman by themselves, as Jask basically tells this woman, it's like, how long have you been fighting this war? And she's like, I've only known war. That is a lie. This war has literally started a few minutes. Our histories, our records, which are outside the contaminated of the Time War, has shown that this planet has only known peace. But thanks to the Doctor's people, him being a Time Lord, it has actually infested and ruined this timeline. And so she's conflicted. It's like, the Doctor wouldn't do that. Really, would he? When the Doctor comes back, actually the Doctor gets captured, and they actually go on like a little rescue party to try and save him. And she knocks out the Doctor's captures, and then she points the gun at the Doctor and demands to tell her the truth and whether he can revert the timeline, because Jask told her that the Doctor, the only person who has the ability to rectify the time war, is him. But the Doctor reveals the effects are permanent. You trusted a Sontaran, he tricked you into believing this lie so that he can escape. And so then Sontaran then points a gun at both of them. But the Doctor actually reasons with him to be like, no, you're dying, you won't get your victory, your peace with the General. But if we worked with you as an ally, so we team up to take down this this corporate, egotistical Sontaran, then like we all agree that we don't want the General to conquer this planet for various reasons. And so Jask agrees, and they come up with a plan. It's just so well. I can't stress enough how well these three characters work off each other and bounce off each other, and it's taken surprisingly for a Sontaran story that is advertised to new series listeners. It takes itself extremely serious. There's no silly comic relief character. Sure, there are some jokes against the Sontarans, like I like the bit where the whole Sontar thing, and when the General gives off this speech that like 3 fugitives are on his flagship, and he commands everybody to like Sontar, just then Jax, even though he's one of the fugitives, actually starts chanting the Sontar as well before the Doctor's like, focus. But the very small segments, mainly the Sontarans, are taken really seriously here, and that's something, as someone who has watched a lot of the new series stories, this video is actually coming out before, this video was actually made before season 13, which I'm aware that there's a Sontaran story there, so that could have changed in the Chris Chibnall era, but as somebody who has grown up to watch a lot of Russell T Davies and Stephen Moffat era, it's refreshing to see the Sontarans taken seriously again. To basically wrap up the ending, the Doctor, Stranus, Sontaran, and Trax basically come up with this plan that the Doctor hijacks their communication system, and Jask then the plan is to originally to pretend that he's like defeated the Doctor and killed the Doctor, but in reality he shoots the Doctor like with a stun gun, and then tells them both to go into a furnace. Well, at this point in time the Doctor is unconscious. So basically he actually used this opportunity to actually kill the Doctor, which I find really funny. And then he basically goes onto the comms and is like, right, this General is a bad guy, can testify, I'm now a hero because I killed the Doctor, our greatest villain. And I'm going to tell you that this General, he's a selfish, egotistical, he led multiple Sontarans off to their deaths for no reason. He plans to still use his temporal teleport system, despite he knows that it will kill them hours after they arrive on the planet of Drasis, just for his vanity project. And so the Doctor TARDIS is set on a delayed course onto the furnace where the Doctor and Satana are in the TARDIS, and the Doctor takes her to Bannerman, where she gets reunited with her kids and actually breaks peace on the planet. And she's like, we can finally enjoy some peace. And the Doctor's like, yes, it's finally here, it's finally time this planet sees peace in your timeline. Everything's back to the way it is. Now, and there's this little bit where he kind of seemingly been offering her the chance to travel with her, or it's like, is there anything else I can do? To which he says, basically, leave and never return. Because I know that this time war has affected our timeline. And that doesn't just mean the past. It means the future as well. I know that this peace, despite you making it seem all happy and glad, won't last. Yeah, sure, it might be a little bit of peace in our time, but it won't last. My children will never know everlasting peace on this planet. The time war has affected this timeline to dramatic and sense, and technically, Doctor, it's your fault. So I want you to leave, and I want you to go, leaving the story on a somber note. And there you go, that's the Sontaran Ordeal. Overall, it is a very good story. It's short, it's small, it's very low level in terms of Time War stuff. I mean, the Time War gets mentioned a lot, but you never see any other Time Lords or Daleks. Daleks don't even get name dropped. At one point, somebody mentions what the Time War is, and they say between the Doctor's people and another race of aliens, and that's about it. Nobody actually says Dalek. I don't know why. There's a reason behind it, but it keeps the nice build up to Daleks in this marathon very well. But the main heart and the main soul is these three characters who really are like the lowest, in the sense of this war, in the sense of both the Time War, this planet, and the war against the Sontarans. They are nothing. They are just little pieces in a massive game of chess. But they still do their best to try and change everything and make the world, the galaxy, a better place. I mean, they fail. They only make it look like that there is peace, that there is prosperity. It's just absolutely miserable, but they made it look like it. They've broke out peace for a small moment, but it's not going to last. Sontarans are still going to murder and conquer and destroy millions of innocent lives, in a sense. Drasis will still see war, and the Doctor is still powerless at this moment in time to do anything really with the Time War, except for just not take part in it and hope for the best that he can run away from it and save as many people as he can from it before planets and galaxies get infected by it. Which leaves the story on a much somber note and is a perfect way to cap off the classic Doctor's New Monsters Volume 1 box set. And there you go, the Sontaran Ordeal. Pretty good stuff. So join me next time where we will be saying goodbye to the 8th Doctor as Paul McGann is back on visual format. So join me next time for the Night of the Doctor, and I'll see you next time on the Doctor Who Marathon. Ta-ra!